God's name is not God. Today we're talking about how God's name is not God and why this impacts your daily life. Throughout the Maison, which is Verde's membership, we've talked about in the Becoming Era pilot that we're running. We've talked about this concept of the ego, and we've talked about it on the replay videos that you all watch. The ego is everyone's safety manager. Everyone has an ego. It's this concept of who you are. This concept of who you are. And it just wants to keep you safe at all costs. It just wants to keep you safe at all costs. So as we're in the process, as you are in the process of becoming and shifting and growing and becoming, which is a continuous journey in your life, the ego is coming up. The ego is coming up to want to keep you safe in the woman, wife, mom that you've been. How it's known you for the past 10, 20, 30, 50 plus years. These are why the tools we've learned so far in the Becoming Era pilot and on these replay videos are so important and so powerful, because when you're changing and when you're growing, your ego just wants to find safety. It's like, get me to shore, get me to safety. And so these tools, such as nervous system regulation, which is breathing, punching pillows in the privacy of your own home, shaking your body, having a cold fan blow on your face or under you, helps you physically feel safe. And the mindset shifts of shifting into a more empowering thought, thinking about when you're having these thoughts that don't feel supportive for you, they just feel like, oh, why am I thinking about this? Shifting into asking yourself, what's a more empowering thought that I can choose to believe? Or what's the most generous assumption I can choose when thinking about the entirety of this relationship when you're thinking about another person? So the biggest thing that the ego wants to do is just keep you safe. And you might be thinking, Mallory, why are we talking about this and how does it have to relate with God? This is all preparatory foundation work, because today we are going to blow your socks off. It was so good and so lit, and there was so much energy in the Maison Becoming Era pilot on Monday when we had our call. So this is going to absolutely blow your brain. So the ego just wants to keep you in the familiar, wants to keep you in what is safe. That's its job. It's the safety manager. So we'll keep you in the familiar based on what you've told yourself about who you are and what you also saw growing up. This is what shapes who you are. The identity of how you see yourself. So you either keep living by how and what your parents, grandparents, TV shows, movies, school, bullies, enemies, which I hope none of you have, music, coworkers have told you either directly or indirectly, like body language, for example, or you choose who you want to be. So you're either living the life based on what other people have told you that you are, And that's again what your ego thinks it's safe. So that's what it thinks is who you are. Or you get to choose who you want to be. There's a 4-step process for you to choose who you want to be. And we've gone through this, and there's going to be a name and a title, an official title to all of this as well. 4 steps to get clear on who you want to be and how this relates to God's name is not God and how this impacts your daily life. Number 1, write I am statements on a sheet of paper, front and back. Number 2, write the I am statements based on who you want to be, the woman you want to be, and the life you want to live. Allow yourself to dream, explore, give yourself permission. Write them down. Number 2, you're going to repeat these daily in the morning. Because repetition is important here. Specifically right in the morning. That's one of the best times to reprogram your mind. Number 3, when limiting beliefs arise, which they will, acknowledge how you feel is valid. So say to yourself, it's valid how I feel. Practice a nervous system regulation tool that we talked about. So either breathing or punching some pillows when you're feeling frustrated with your husband or your coworker or your employees versus yelling and getting it out onto them, because either way it's going to come out. And then shift and think about what's a more empowering thought after you feel more calm. What's a more empowering thought I can choose to believe here? What's the most generous assumption I can give my husband based on when I think about the entirety of our relationship or when I think about our relationship recently and how awesome it's been? Number 4, you're going to move about your day as though you already are this woman and that you're already living the life that you want to live. Move about your day as though you are already that woman. This does not mean blowing and spending all of your money, because one of the aspects that you can have within yourself, which I recommend, is I invest in assets and make money while I sleep. I have healthy, sober, disciplined habits. I'm disciplined with my finances. So as you practice these 4 steps, this is literally what changes what your brain sees. Because we're bombarded with 11 million bits of information every second, but we're only aware of 50 and 60 of that information. So of the 50 and 60 of the information out of the 11 million that you're seeing, it depends on what you believe about yourself, which is your ego. So you change how you view yourself with these I am statements and repeat them daily so your brain starts to recognize, ooh, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I want to see. And then your ego, as you repeat it daily, starts to recognize this is safe for me to experience because I have not died. I am not dead. This is safe for me to physically experience peace, ease, happiness, joy, the life that I want. So that's the prep. It gets even better. Hold on to your socks because they will be blown off by this next part. Okay. Go ahead and type in the comments. Go ahead and type in the comments. I am if you are ready for this next part. I am if you're ready for this next part. Okay. Every time you say, I am, you are speaking God's name. Let me say that again. Every time you say the words, I am, you are speaking God's name. God's name is not God. That is his title. God told Moses when he appeared to him in the burning bush, Moses was going to go speak to the Pharaoh, and Moses was a little nervous. And Moses asked God, "Who should I say has sent me to come speak to the Pharaoh?" One of the highest rulers at that time, or the highest ruler at that time in that region. And God says, he doesn't say God sent you. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say Mallory sent you. He doesn't say a specific name. He says, I am who I am. Say to the Pharaoh who sent you, I am who I am. I am who I am. Let's keep going. God made humans, only humans, in his image and likeness. He did not make trees, birds, dogs, bugs, specifically in his image and likeness. We are the only beings alive that can say the words, I am. A tree cannot say I am. A bug cannot say I am. A bird cannot say I am. We, as humans, are the only beings that say, I am, when we reference ourselves. Like when someone asks you, oh, who's excited? I am. Oh, who wants to this? Who's excited? I can't think of another one. I am. We are the only beings that say the words, I am. That's why it's so important and so mindful to be intentional with the I am statements that you say and how you talk about yourself. Saying, I am successful. I am a multi-billionaire. I am above multi-trillion dollars. I am whole and a queen. Because you're not just saying that about yourself, you're saying it about God. So every time you say, I am fat, I am ugly, I am not enough, you're talking about God, which is not true. And because you were made in God's image and likeness, and the only being made in God's image and likeness, that's not true. It's this lie that you've heard or picked up from somewhere along the lines of schools, movies, how you saw people talk to each other, either in movies or TV shows or in your home life. In the Bible, it says, Romans 12, verse 2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That literally describes neuroplasticity. That literally describes what we've been talking about with the I am statements and forming new empowering beliefs. And seeing the 50 and 60 out of the 11 million bits of information that are zooming by you, seeing the 50 and 60 that you intentionally want to see. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transform your life by changing your mind. Is this not so good? Let me give you another one. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is." That literally describes identity shaping your reality. Whatever you think, whatever you feel, all the dreams that are in your heart from God, so you are. That it just is. That's how you see yourself. That's how you see reality. Because no one sees reality exactly the same. You only see reality based on the 50 and 60 out of the 11 million bits of information zooming by you. You only see the 50 and 60 that you choose to see based on what you tell yourself, the new beliefs that you form. And as you tell yourself these new beliefs that you form, this is what begins to allow your ego, which is your concept of self, to feel safe with happiness, joy, discipline, money, diligence. I wanted to say discipline again. Discipline. Living the life that you want because now that's safe to your concept of self. So everything comes down to your I am statements, how you see yourself, your identity, because you were made in God's image and likeness. It makes sense. Like if you're not mind blown by this alone, it's so good because, and I shared this in the Becoming Era pilot, where we all, like as kids, you talked about, oh, we want superpowers, we want superpowers. Like what superpower would you have? And some people would say, oh, I want to be invisible. And then some people would say, I want to fly. And some people would say, I want to read people's minds. Not realizing that we all have a superpower, which is the ability to change your mind literally, and then change your life literally by what you tell yourself, which is then what you tell yourself, what you then start to believe. This is how you live the life and become the woman that you want by this 4-step process. Because when you repeat these I am statements, when you get clear in the I am statements that you want to believe, when you repeat these daily, your ego, again, recognizes this as, okay, this is safe for me to now experience. This is safe for me. Safe for me, safe for me, safe for me, safe for me. You look at any limiting beliefs that come up, beliefs that do not feel good, and then you choose a more empowering belief. And then you show up daily as this woman. That's how you live the life that you want. So when you combine neuroscience, which we've been talking about, and God, you're not just reprogramming your mind and your life based on your own motivation. You're co-creating with the one who made the system. That's why it feels so good. That's why it feels so good when you change your limiting belief, when you start thinking in a more positive way about yourself. That's why it feels so good, because you're co-creating with the one who made the system. This is so good. You want a superpower? This is your superpower. Being able to transform your mind based on who and whose you are. So this week, Set these intentions. Go through this 4-step process seriously to change your life. Not just for this week, for the rest of your life. That way, your daughter, your son, your children see their mom, see their mother as a woman who respects herself, as a woman who loves herself, as a woman who takes care of herself, as a woman who loves herself when she looks in the mirror, as a woman who feeds and fuels herself. Because when they recognize that, they then feel safe with their concept of self to say, oh, it's safe for me to love myself. It's safe for me to care for myself. It's safe for me to be diligent and disciplined with my finances. It's safe for me to take risks and believe in myself. It's safe for me to lean on God. It's safe for me to eat a meal, a whole meal. Practice these 4 steps so intentionally. Because God's name is not God, that is his title. His name is I am. And as human beings, we're the only beings alive that say the words I am. So you need to be intentional with the I am statements that you say about yourself, because you're not only talking about God, you're talking about yourself. This again is why it feels so good to shift your mindset into something that feels healthier, happier, and more positive. Because you're not just doing it based on your own motivation. You're doing it based on the one who created the system. I hope you find this replay video helpful. Go ahead and share this with someone that you know needs to watch this. We're here to support you. Share your biggest takeaways with us. And I hope that you all have a wonderful week. God is with you.